Hey, I'm Crystal, and today I'm really happy because I get to listen to the Beatles' Let It Be album for the very first time. And stay with me until the end because I have update number 2 on how my week went this time listening to the Magical Mystery Tour. We start off with number 1, Two of Us, lead vocals McCartney with Lennon.
Poetry and the Deaf Aid. We're going home on my walks, wearing raincoats. You and I, the road that stretches, wearing raincoats.
This one was so sweet and endearing. I loved how they ended out with that little whistle. It added a flavor of charm. The fact that they said goodbye just made me realize this is their last album that we will be listening to before starting over from the beginning. So that made me a little bit, it's not all sad. There's no time to really be heartbroken because this is an up-tempo song. It's in a major key. It has that ringing sound, 4/4 time signature. I absolutely loved the way all of the guitars played together. We had that electric feel in the bass and the way that the rhythm guitar played with the acoustic feel. I feel like the heaviest emphasis was on this acoustic nature of the song. It was a great way to set the tone for the rest of the album, to get an audience member off their seat,
up and dancing, ready for the next song.
Run away home.
The Beatles know how to deliver an excellent transition. I feel like they have such a handle on that.
That's such a masterful handle.
And they do such a genius thing in this song. They use the drum to carry us from one section to the next. And it's so brilliantly done because the next section does take a little bit of a more emotional turn. So I feel like the drum helps prepare us for this impact.
You and I.
Wonderful. We are off to our song number 2, Dig a Pony, lead vocals, Lennon. This one has a funny title. I like it.
Dig a pond, anything you want. Is you. Pick a moon dove, thing you are. Feel the wind, love.
Even though this is the second song of the album, not the first, they decided to start this off by tuning the instruments, by starting the concert. Felt like they were setting up, they were gearing up to play. And what that makes me feel like as an audience member, that I'm listening to a live concert. So it's interesting that they decided to take that approach with the second song and not the first. But I think that the mystery was solved at the end of the song. Maybe this song itself was the concert. They wrap up the concert at the end of the song.
Thank you, brothers.
Right, he says thank you, a few other British things.
Other British things.
We know that we have yet another major song. This one had a bit of a difference in the time though. It had a more 3/4 waltz type of feeling, whereas our first song was 1, 2, 3, 4. This one was more like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The vocal execution was very raw, especially in the harmonies. They didn't exactly line up all the way perfectly every time. One line would keep going while the other one was cut short. Vocal delivery felt really gruff, and the best way to explain it is like an exposed wound.
All I want is you.
You can hear in that harmony there, the top voice keeps on going and it holds the U and the bottom line stops short. There's an overall sense of strain, which can be conveyed emotionally, like this desperation adds to how we are perceiving it as an audience member. We can feel the pain behind the words.
The moon dove, well, you can radiate. Oh, now.
Similarly to the first song, but in a completely different way, there's a really beautiful blend of acoustic and electric, and the different guitars, the rhythm guitar and the acoustic guitar, everything is playing together so seamlessly, it's all intertwining. Number 3, we have Across the Universe, lead vocals, Lennon.
Again.
Like endless rain into across the universe, blessing and caressing me. Change my world, stands before me. Nothing's coming through my
So far, I'm noticing a theme with the Let It Be album. We got major and this meld of an acoustic and electric sound. But I feel that in this song, Across the Universe, the way it's starting to branch out from the first two songs is that now we're adding in this more Eastern element. It feels like perhaps there's more Indian sounding string. There's this wah 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 sound. I feel like it goes all the way up high pitch. It starts sounding like this very bright, sparkly shine. There's so many elements and there's so many pitches that are being shot out all at once. Something that adds into all that excitement of the song are the backing vocals. It kind of sounds cosmic or celestial. Whenever you can see like a ray of sun, you can actually see the ray breaking through the clouds. That's the imagery I get from that sound. Section right here, we can hear the choir-like vocal background scaling up. And it has that peak right at the top where it can just soar and float. Overall, I feel like this song has a very outer space feel to it. It almost reminds me of David Bowie's Space Oddity in a sense. Número 4, I, Me, Mine. Lead vocals, Harrison. That was outrageous. I feel like they ended us on this suspension, like we didn't get a resolution, which was so interesting because the way I feel like the progression of the whole song went was the verses or the section A's were this build up of tension. You can feel emotional restraint, and it felt like it kept building up and piling, but still kept getting shoved further down. Then there was a burst with the I'm in mine. I feel like that's when you had an emotional breakdown, the eruption. That's when everything collapses, and then we go back into that place of reservation. So you can feel this internal tension right here. All through the night. It's almost like a soft cry. And slowly start to feel this build until we finally let out. That's that outburst. I was just thinking, we can call this a piece, right? This is a song, but it's a Beatles song, so we can call it a piece. This is a musical piece. Something I love about this piece is that finally we get our minor, our
Beatles minor song.
It's also kept in this 3/4 time, has this waltz feel. We go on 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Chord changes are beautiful. I love that we start off with this organ. It creates this really intimidating presence. It just gives me chills. It makes me feel very small in a really great, vast space. And I really love the blend of the organ with the strings. That creates this very classical, haunting feeling. It's like a regal haunt. It wasn't very scary or creepy. It was more so bold and daring. I Me Mine was a complete roller coaster. Number 5, Dig It. Lead vocals, Lennon.
And the BBC, dig it. Like Georgie wouldn't, and now it like.
That was it. That was a brief little funny interlude. I think to appreciate Dig It for all of its glory, I have to re-listen to it.
Like a rolling stone.
At the beginning, we have a dramatic, dynamic increase. We start off at like a pianissimo. It's very soft, and then it grows, and we are at a forte, or at least a mezzo forte.
Like a rolling stone.
We have a nice raw vocal, a little bit of rasp on the end of it.
Hey.
So he's just listing things off with a repetitive melodic sequence. Da 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 da. And the chord sequence behind him is repetitive too. It's just repeating over and over.
And Doris Day. Thinking my Georgie would sing.
Now we'd like to do All the Angels Come. I guess a great thing that that song did was, even though it was really short, it kept the organ going. It brought back some maracas. I think we've already heard some maracas in this album. They brought them back. And we had a 6-string bass, so there was a little bit of
Spicing it up a little bit musically.
to number 6, Let It Be, the title of the album, lead vocals, McCartney. I've heard the story about this song, and I've heard this song before. This will be the first song I've heard in this album. And I know it's about Paul being visited by his late mother in a dream. Here's to being strong while listening to Let It Be. Nope.
Hour of darkness, speaking words of wisdom, living in the world agree. And the night is cloud, shine until tomorrow. Mother Mary comes to meet me.
I don't think I've heard it since I've heard the story of the song. I had heard it so many times before, it never hit me the gravity of what it meant, the fact that these were true words of wisdom that were brought to him from the great beyond. And there was a line that stood out. I'm trying to find it. I'm terrible at like going back and looking for things. I spend literal hours trying to find things in the song. Okay, I found it. So now understanding what this song means to Paul and where it came from, how he created it, this line is so different.
There is still a light that shines on me.
I know a lot of you guys know a lot about them and know all these insider story and details, but do you know if that line specifically is referring to Paul talking about his mom, that she's the light that still shines on him? And it's kind of sad too, because this is their last album, so it's like he's being told to let it be, to let the Beatles rest.
Wake up to the sound of music.
The line of the guitar is just so breathtaking. A lot of beautiful overtones at the end. So even though this piece exists in this major key and has an optimistic sound, there are elements that are heartbreaking and pull from this broken place that allows you to learn how to heal. You can feel the presence that Paul feels for his mother in this song. Like, we can feel this warmth, this angel is guiding us through the piece. We already know about Paul's vocal ability. We know what he's able to deliver. We know his crazy range. We know the control that he has over his tone and his breath support and placement. We know that all of that is magic. And in this song, he shows us that not only does he have everything, but the power is in the control. He gets to control how we hear him, how he utilizes that power so that he doesn't have to hit these insane notes all the time. He doesn't have to do the growls all the time, but we know it's in there, and he adds little specks of it here and there. He sprinkles it around, and he delivers the song so beautifully, and we know that he is holding back, but in that restraint, it's almost symbolic of the hope for a new day, which is symbolic because, like the song says, even though there are clouds, we know there's a sun that still shines through behind them, and that it will come through if we just let it be. We've got number 7, Maggie May, lead vocals, Lennon with McCartney.
Hold away anymore, all around it.
Not only was that song super short, but I feel that it ended abruptly. It's really interesting that Let It Be was sandwiched between these two very short songs. It says that for Maggie May, the writers are traditional. The cover that they're playing for us, extremely major. It was like living in the land of major where minor has never existed, where sadness and clouds have never existed. Bright, open, it was folksy, very acoustic. It was a very happy campfire moment. It is that time of the night where we've hit side 2. Our first song is I've Got a Feeling, lead vocals, McCartney and Lennon. Tonight's gonna be a good night. Tonight's gonna be a good, good night.
Probably not that song.
Got a feeling, and I don't know.
In this song, we got two powerhouses living their best powerhouse life. That intensity, I feel like it made all the instruments step up a bit too. That guitar started flowing through as if it also was a powerhouse vocalist in sound. We kind of had this hard rock feeling because of all the intensity, the vocal intensity, the delivery, the passion, the guitar. But there was also a bluesy feeling as well. We know it was major. A steady 4/4 time. They really went hard on the section with the building dissonance. Satisfying build up, and it ended with that vocalization, just clashing sounds, muddy, murky, cloudy. All right, our second song on side 2 is One After 909. Lead vocals, Lennon with McCartney.
One after 909 or twice. Come on, baby, don't be. You only run right home. Because life come around. Better move on.
This one was the definition of fun, the definition of getting up, dancing, screaming along with your friends on a late Saturday night. Very fun 4/4 time signature to dance along to. It was major, it was fresh. The drums had a booming, vivid presence in this song, and it was very electric. There was an electric feel. I think we had an electric piano, and one of my favorite things about this song is that I always love when a good little piano run is thrown in there, and it is repeated in this song, and it's an electric piano run, so it's very thrilling. That just sends shivers down my spine. Number 3, on side 2, The Long and Winding Road, lead vocals, McCartney.
Long and winding road never disappear. Anyway, you get by. Time ago.
This song is a wonder of the world. The big orchestra just came and accompanied the sound, and just it felt like it kept elevating every time the strings progressed upwards and started scaling up. It felt like we were being lifted off of our seat. The song is just filled with so many beautiful melodies, and the choir just adds so much strength and beauty and adds to that grandness and the expansion, the idea that the song just keeps getting bigger and bigger. I have heard The Long and Winding Road before. I've heard it a few times, and every single time I hear it, it blows me away. Every time. Número 4, on side 2. Harrison. Let's make the most of this opportunity and have fun. For You, Blue.
More than ever, girl. 12-bar blues.
I think we now have an idea on who You Blue is. This is a song that was clearly a dedication to blues with the 1/4/5 pattern. It was really fun. It kept a good pace. The way we start off with an easy acoustic feel, and then we're hit sharply with a dissonant sound. That little ting, ting has a very dissonant sound. And every single instrument in this song adds so much vibrance. There's this new texture that's added with the new sounding guitar. So many different tones playing with each other all at once. For You Blue is like this blues jumble of vivacious sounds working together. Sadly, we have made it to the very last song, which is called Get Back, lead vocals, McCartney. I've noticed that they've incorporated a lot more speaking segments. Yay!
Oh, we passed the audition.
That was a sweet way to end it. They hope that they pass the audition.
I don't know.
There's so much beauty in the instrumentation. The sevenths added nice color to the sound. It was very rich. I feel like the drums came through very well. There was also a very nice sound in the piano too that had a very nice color. Overall, it worked. It was percussive, it was musical, it was intriguing, the way that the different guitars played and contrasted with each other and melded and worked together. Another recurring thing was there are different guitars that just blend together and play off of one another and sometimes completely repel against each other, and that creates a new sound. In this one, they kind of more so went together seamlessly, like it was tightly knit. Truly know how to deliver a bass line that the audience will appreciate so many times over and over again. We just ride along this beautiful, beautiful bass line that just takes us. I remember in the last album, I really loved the bass line in Something. That was one of my favorite moments. And I think throughout this album, Let It Be, there was nice bass lines. It was electric feels at times. And it's remarkable to see that time and again, they can just reinvent something so simple and create something incredibly magical and take us into a completely different direction that they haven't taken us in before. It's not just north, south, east, and west. It's
Upside down, backwards, flipped over that way, and then again, back around in a parallel dimension.
Since this is their last released album, this will technically be my last first listen to a Beatles album, but I didn't start filming my experience with you guys until the Sgt. Pepper's album, so I need to go back and revisit the albums prior. It won't be a first listen, but it will still be a reaction. It will still be listening to amazing Beatles songs, so it's still gonna be a party, still gonna be fun, and we can still find things that stand out and why certain things work, and it will still be a good time. I also need to update you on how my week went with the Magical Mystery Tour. I need to go get my notes. All right, update number 2. I started the Magical Mystery Tour Monday, September 20th, and I listened to it until Sunday, September 26th. Last update, I broke down the order of how I listened to songs. Things switched up for me on the Magical Mystery Tour week because I started getting into editing a little bit more. I didn't have exactly the same amount of time that I had before to dedicate to the albums, so I had to sacrifice a little bit of listening time, but I still listened nonetheless. As far as the order went, there was no order. I just tried to listen to the whole thing over and over again, just in the order that it was, or try to pick up where I'd left off. Let's say one day I stopped at Strawberry Fields, the next day I would pick up at Penny Lane, or anytime during the day if I stopped, I would try to start right where I stopped. Sometimes I wouldn't quite remember, but for the most part, I got through every single song of the album every day. Here are my interesting discoveries. Flying. I learned that this was a great song to calm me down when I was feeling anxious, especially at nighttime when I can't sleep and get so worked up and my heart rate starts increasing. I learned that listening to Flying soothes me. And I learned it accidentally. I wasn't even trying to soothe myself. I was just listening to Flying and I just inhaled and I exhaled and life felt okay. Blue Jay Way. So for the first 5 days, I could not listen to Blue Jay Way at night. I mean, I would listen to it during the nighttime because sometimes that was the only time I had to listen to it, and it would terrify me. I felt like Halloween had come too soon, which I love Halloween. As you can tell, I'm being very festive right now, or trying to be, but it was a little too scary for me. Until around the 6th day, which was like way too late into the week, but that's when I started to really surrender to the tape loops. That's when I started to get into this mode of feeling really comfortable with the tape loops, and the entire Blue Jay Way became a comfort spot for me. Strawberry Fields to Penny Lane. Before having listened to the album for the first time, I had already heard Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane several times, and those were my absolute favorite Beatles songs. I enjoyed them very, very much. And over the course of the week, I fell deeper and deeper in love with those songs. But by the end of the week, I found that my love for Your Mother Should Know surpassed those two songs, at least for the week. Because I was also more unfamiliar with Your Mother Should Know. So it was this exciting experience to really listen to a song that I had never heard before and fall in love with it in a week. And that takes me to Your Mother Should Know. It is very beautiful, it's very delightful. I learned the hard way that you can't listen to it with only the right headphone in, without the left headphone. I've found that, you won't get any of the lyrics. But then I realized that if there are people out there who are studying, they're in college, you need to be focusing on something, you need to be able to pay attention to what people are saying, but you still want a little bit of music in the background, then that's the perfect thing to do. Sometimes you're talking to someone and the words kind of get in the way. I don't know if that's just me. But if it's just the music, you're fine. That's a solution right there. I have to repeat what I said for Sgt. Pepper's on the Magical Mystery Tour. There are no skips. I enjoyed every song. I enjoyed every moment. It's actually really hard to tell if there was one song that I did not want to listen to anytime. No, I enjoyed all of them. I've enjoyed every Beatles song. I mean, even the ones that scare me, like Blue Jay Way did at first, turned out to be a comfort zone. I'm devouring every second of Beatles song, Beatles information, and I'm so grateful to you guys for telling me stories about the Beatles, because it is really insightful and interesting when I go back and listen to the song, keeping in mind the information that you guys have given me about who the songs are about or what they're about, and then listening back completely changes the experience. So I'm really grateful to you. Thank you for watching this video. I look forward to seeing you in my next video, which will be Beatles album 1, Please Please Me. Going back in time now. Music is the way to time travel. Yeah.